So let me use the turbo power here. Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Well, good morning and welcome to a very special day, because this is a 1982 Honda CX500 Turbo. Yes, you heard that right, turbo. This is the first of only 4 turbocharged motorcycles ever produced. And today we're gonna ride it. So what is this 45-year-old turbocharged motorcycle like to ride? Well, to be honest, it feels a lot more conventional than I expected. When you're riding around at low RPM, you don't actually notice the turbo that much. Also doesn't make that much noise. And it doesn't feel like laggy or anything. So when you're just cruising around like I'm doing right now, it feels surprisingly conventional. The brakes are still quite nice. This bike features air preload assisted anti-dive suspension, which at its time was as innovative as it sounds. So it corners quite well, the engine is really smooth, everything is, well, I suppose that might not come as a surprise considering this is a Honda. It feels very Honda. And not to say that's a bad thing, but when you're talking about the first turbocharged production motorcycle ever produced, 80 horsepower in a 1980s chassis. On the spec sheet and on the Wikipedia articles you might expect this thing to be some like wild widowmaker. This thing actually feels surprisingly like a normal motorcycle. I love this turbo gauge that's right in front of me. I'm sure you've already seen it in the B-roll, but on the dashboard over here you have this like digital, almost Casio-esque digital dial which displays the amount of turbo pressure you're currently on. And it's so surreal to see first off turbo anywhere on your dashboard on a motorcycle, but it's also a lot of fun to watch the dial go up and down as you're playing with the throttle. And I have to say, the exhaust sounds quite fruity for stock exhaust. Oh yeah, you can when you get up to 6,000 RPM you can definitely feel the turbo kicking in. That's the first time I've properly opened it up a bit, and okay, that's quite fun. But as I was saying, the exhaust sounds quite fruity. I think back in the 80s they didn't have that many noise regulations, so I'm sure that helps. But it just has a really nice, lovely low rumble and deep bassy sound. Another very unique thing about this motorcycle, and engineering feat Honda had in the 80s, is this is the first Honda to ever feature fuel injection in the 1980s. That's so crazy to me, because when I got on this I fully expected to have like the choke lever and to have to press it and fiddle with it, but it's fuel injected. That's so crazy. Let's test the handling a little bit. Nice sound through the tunnel there. Yeah, it just feels really nice, really neutral. Very Honda, I suppose, but it doesn't feel nearly 40 years old. And even though this bike is quite heavy, it's like 240 kilograms. Hold on. Oh yeah, 6.5 grand. That's it, yeah. Yeah, it's 40 years old, but honestly it feels a lot sharper, a lot more modern than that. Yeah, it's 245 kilograms. But when you're just riding, you actually don't feel it that much. It feels a lot more comparable to my dad's normal CX500 than I expected it to be. No wave? Ah, there we go, there we go. Another thing I really like about this platform and the CX500 engine is when you're sitting at a standstill, you can feel the cylinders, because it's the cylinders are mounted like this horizontally. You can feel the bike rocking back and forth a little bit, so that adds quite a lot of character to the riding experience. But as you start going and as you start riding, the engine smooths out a lot, and that's also due to the part that the crank on this bike actually spins the opposite direction of the engine, or sorry, the transmission spins the opposite side of the engine. which I'm pretty sure bikes like the Ducati Panigale V4 now also have to like reduce the wheeling and increase turning. But Honda did this in the 80s just to improve the smoothness and reduce the rocking motion back and forth from the V-twin. So that's another area where this bike was just really ahead of its time. So let me use the turbo power here. Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Oh, that's hilarious. It's so smooth, like it's not scary at all, which I expected a little bit, but no, it's not scary, it's just kind of weird, but kind of wonderful. Like it's very linear, so when you're just pulling around, you're just like, okay, this is the power, and then you hit like 6,500 RPM and it just starts flying more. And it's not that fast, it's not that, it doesn't like surprise you in any way, but it's so surreal because there isn't anything like this. After the early 1980s, when every major Japanese manufacturer of the Big Four produced one of these turbocharged bikes, like 2 or 3 years after, they all died out, and there hasn't been anything since. I mean, you could argue that Kawasaki H2 is sort of a spiritual successor to these bikes, but of course that's supercharged, and this is turbocharged. And although I have yet to ride the H2, and I would love to ride that, I doubt it will be as like characterful as this, as usable as this, because at the end of the day this is still only an 80 horsepower bike, which in my opinion is perfect for the streets. And the H2 of course has, what is it, like 215 horsepower? Sound check. Yeah, it's so lovely. It's just, honestly, when I first got on this bike, it just felt really familiar to me. But once you get it spooling a little bit, past 6,000 RPM, and the turbo starts going, it's so different, and it's so unique, and it's I'm sorry not many people are going to get the experience to ride one of these, but it's one of the reasons I'm so grateful for having this YouTube channel, knowing people that have unique bikes and being able to share the experience and maybe give you a little bit of a glimpse into what these just amazing bikes are like to ride. I mean, it's what it's all about, right? Now let me take you guys to the place that made all of this possible, and I'll give you some more info on just how amazing these bikes are.
Alright, so I've just come here to Motobike Weesp, and when I mean the shop that made this all possible, I mean it in a very literal sense, because I've been coming here ever since I was a little lad, when I was like 12 years old, and I first rode on the back of my dad's old GPX600, and yeah, this is pretty much where my love for bikes started, and also one of the reasons I'm very excited to ride this turbo today, because the owner of this place has always had an obsession with these CX500s, and yeah, I've been basically looking at these bikes and that one in particular for my whole life. And I just want to take this moment to explain a little bit about how special these bikes are. So for those of you who don't know, these bikes are designed by he's a pretty interesting guy. He worked for the Honda F1 division in the 1960s, designed an engine for one of the cars. After that he went on to produce the Goldwing, so the bigger brother of this one. He was the brain, what you call it, like the father of the Honda CBX, like the 6-cylinder, which is also a pretty legendary motorcycle. Funnily enough, he actually went on to become the president of Sega game consoles after that. So yeah, pretty interesting guy, and that kind of gives context to how crazy and out of the box he was able to think. And that's exactly what he did with these bikes. So the CX500 family and the Silverwing over here. So let me just give you a little bit of the details about why I think these bikes are so special. First off, this is Honda's first V-twin they ever made, and the unique thing about this is it's transversely mounted. So as you would be able to see with the Moto Guzzi from like from forever, the cylinders are like opposite of the direction the motorcycle's traveling. And another interesting fact about this bike is that, contrary to Moto Guzzi, where I think the cylinders are like split apart 90 degrees like this, that intrudes with the legroom quite a bit for the rider. And on this bike, Honda made it, I think it's an 80-degree angle, and they actually angled these cylinder heads outwards to increase the leg room even more. Adding to that, the engine on these bikes is also used as a stressed member. What that means is basically there's not really frame underneath here, but the designers have used the engine as part of the frame to reduce weight and increase rigidity, I guess. And the reason that's so unique is these bikes are from the 80s, but what we are seeing with a lot of the super bikes right now, so like the Panigale V4 and stuff, is they're using the same concept. They're using the engine as part of the frame. And Honda did this all the way back in the 80s. Another fascinating fact to me is the fact that these bikes were the first production motorcycles to use tubeless tires. And all of this stuff is, just all of these facts sound really normal to us now. Like another thing, disc brakes, for example, tubeless tires, all really common now. But these were some of the first bikes that actually used it. And I feel like they might not get the attention they deserve for how innovative they were. So yeah, I got a couple of different models over here. Got the C, so that's the custom over here. It's got kind of a cruiser vibe. Got Silver Wing, so this is the baby brother to the Gold Wing. Uses the same platform as the CX, but then with the full fairing and with the panniers. Really interesting bike, very popular in America. Coming over here, we have the base models, so starting in 1979, I believe. So these were the first bikes to come out. Really different styling, really goofy styling. Also, one of the most controversial points about these bikes is they look like nothing before, and that's mainly due to the fact that it was supposed to be the bike of the future. Let me see, coming around here, we have a very nice custom bike that the owner of this of Motobike Weesp built himself. Really like it, lots of character, very well built, very interesting. Coming on to my dad's bike, so that's the Euro. And this is where it gets really interesting because these bikes actually have quite a bit in common. So the way you can see this is it's basically a turbo, but without the turbo. So it has the improved anti-dive suspension, which is air preload assisted. You get disc brakes front and rear. You get a lot of the styling cues from the turbo, so the rear indicators and a lot of the fairing. So it's pretty much this bike, but naturally aspirated, which is why I felt so at home on the turbo as soon as I did. And then we have the turbo over here looking amazing, very iconic color scheme, and just really enjoying it. It's such an honor to ride someone else's bike that's this rare and this special and so unique. So let's hop on again, take it for another spin, give you some more of my thoughts, and then we'll wrap up this video.
It's such a special and amazing opportunity to ride the very bike I've been looking at ever since I was a child. As I mentioned, I pretty much grew up at Motobike Weesp. Been there since I was 12-year-old, and there was always like one or two of these turbos knocking around. And of course, when you're younger, you're a lot into modern bikes, and I have noticed that over the past few years I've grown to appreciate the classics a lot more. And then especially something like this, it's so unique, so rare, and it's just nothing quite like it. And at first I might have been a bit underwhelmed because I'm a bit used to riding classic bikes now, and I'm familiar with this platform, and when you ride this thing like pretty gently, it's all a bit familiar. But once you get this thing out on a nice country road or a large B road, and you get to open it up, go past 6,000 RPMs, it's so amazing, it's so unique. The noise the wastegate makes as you let go of the throttle on boost. It's so amazing. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, leave a comment what you guys want to see next. And I'll see you in the next one. Ciao, ciao.